all that.
Okay.
Sweet.
All right. This is episode 8 of the Bank on Purpose podcast, where we align your money with your purpose, educating you on money, making your money work harder for you. I'm Texas Bill Pace, co-living and buy and hold real estate investor and capital raiser, and the other is Mr. Jody Ogden.
I'm Jody, and we're here today going to be with Jamie. He is actively using self-directed accounts and other investment means, and so we will be talking to him about that. Jamie, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, man?
Yeah, Jamie Stone got into, well, actually, working right now in healthcare, and that's how I came into this IRA, but I'll get into that. But yeah, I work in healthcare, nurse by background, emergency department mostly. Lately, been working dialysis, epilepsy units, and things like that. Monitoring, I do management. So yeah, I've got into real estate. I'd say about 2 years ago now, 3 years ago, where I started thinking about it. Bigger Pockets, and then Sub Two and Gator, and joined those communities. And I met you and Bill in Growth Co. And since then, I've been focusing on trying to build my own portfolio and looking at co-living and raising private capital and that sort of thing. But in terms of um, the other side of it, I've done some lending as well, and some private money partnerships. And I think that's what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yes, sir. That's how pretty much how we're going to focus on it today. So, how did you find out about self-directed accounts if you were in healthcare and that's your career and stuff, Jamie?
Well, I wanted to. Okay, so when you start reading about real estate, the first thing you think is how? How are you going to do it? Like, because I didn't have this big chunk of money where I could just go ahead and put a down payment on something. Like the current house that I have, I sold some stocks that I was putting money into the stock market for a long time, and moved from California, came here. We were renting in California when we left there, so didn't have any equity from any house there. So all I had was my stocks. So I sold my stocks, bought my own uh, private residence here in Oregon, and that was it. Money was gone, right? So I didn't have any other extra money to invest in real estate. So I'm like, how are these people doing things with no money down and everything else? And about the same time, I was starting to get, I guess, burnt out from emergency department and managing that. Managed it during COVID, and worked in trauma centers and everything before. So it just 20 years is a long time doing that job. So I left my employer and went to another hospital here in Portland, and I had this pretty sizable retirement account. I'm like, I remember just from, I think it was Bigger Pockets. They had this lady on. She's the, I guess she must be the CEO of UDirect. And she was just talking about like self-directed IRAs. And I had heard about it in the past and never paid any attention to what it actually was, because it always seemed like something I couldn't do because I was locked into my company's 403B, right? And I'm like, well, and I even looked at that. Well, could I take money from my 403B and use that for investing? You can borrow $50,000 at whatever the prevailing like reasonable interest rate is. You got to pay it back. So I'm like,
Mm.
that's not very good. Like I can't lend money from, I'd had to make a pretty good spread to use that. And it's pretty risky. So it just seemed like there's no options, right? What can I do? And then when, like I said, when I left my employer, I'm like, well, I should look into just have my own IRA, because I did that in the past briefly, and then I rolled it into a 403B because I didn't know any better. When I came from Stanford over to my job, my first job in Portland, and I'm like, I'm gonna look more into this, but I didn't know a lot about it, so I'm like, I'm gonna tread sort of lightly. I'm not gonna put my entire retirement account into it as self-directed. I'll carve a portion off. So I did pretty much like a third. I transferred the rest into like all of it into Vanguard first, and just put it
Mhm.
into like total stock market fund and total bond market fund, like 90% stocks, 10% bonds to kind of buffer, because usually when one goes up, the other goes down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I carved a little chunk of that off, and I guess I rolled it over again into the self-directed IRA with UDirect. And I'm like, but I want to be able to use the money. A lot of people just roll it into a self-directed IRA, and you can use it for real estate and things, but you have to go through this compliance check every time with the self-directed company, like with the IRA company. So you can't just go and like put a deposit on something the next day. It's got to be vetted. So the way around that is to get what's called checkbook control. And in
Mhm.
order to do that, you create an LLC, which owns the IRA. Like the IRA owns the LLC, is this way it goes. And the LLC gets a bank account. So it's kind of like I own the IRA owns the LLC, and the LLC can open up a bank account. And then you get a checkbook, debit card, and you can pretty much fund things like same as you would from a regular bank account. So I'm like, that's the route I'm going to go, and that's what I did. So, and that's how I bought the first property, my rental property in Paramount, Ohio. It's just outside of Cleveland. So,
Nice.
yeah,
So you've already bought a property in your 401, your self-directed account.
yeah, yeah.
Is is that a 401k or is that a Roth or is that
It's actually just a traditional one because I didn't qualify for a Roth. I would have to do, I would have to pay the taxes and everything because I made too much money to get Roth
oh gotcha.
status. There's a way you can do it, but I'm like, I just kept it simple because I wanted to move quickly. And this was my way to get my foot in the door and actually say, well, I'm actually doing this now. Otherwise, I don't know when I would have, because this is before I joined Gator. Yeah, around the same time, but sub two. I didn't know much about creative finance or anything. So
Nice.
my mentality was you had to have a down payment for everything, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. So since you started your self-directed accounts and whatnot, what all have you delved into other than just buying?
Well, lending because I read there's a textbook by the guy who does the taxes for Robert Kiyosaki,
Mm,
and he kind of says not to buy property out of your self-directed IRA because it's already tax sheltered sort of thing.
mhm.
So I'm like, oh, oh well, I'm not selling it now, but I just wanted I think for me it was just I wanted to say that I have a rental property, I have something, I have a one door, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
was more of a mental barrier, if that makes sense. At some point I probably will sell that house and just take that money and then lend that money instead. But yeah, with Gator, which is one of the Pace Morby communities, I think it was probably the third strategy that he started teaching. Originally, the first strategy is you're lending EMD and double close, that sort of stuff. But the third strategy that he taught was private money lending. A lot of it's like gap lending, um, lending on first position, construction, that sort of stuff. So I looked into that and I said, yeah, I'm going to try this with the self-directed IRA. So I did one loan from that and one from like some personal money that I had. And that was how I kind of got started. So very small amounts. One was 5,000 and one was 10,000. The 10,000 was from the IRA. The five was from just my own money.
mm.
And that's kind of how I got started. And yeah,
So how do you decide whether you're going to use your personal money or the money in your Roth to uh,
I think I
loan?
was at that time. I really was just experimenting. I'm like, I've got about 5,000 I can put in. Okay, and that was going to be outside of a tax structure sort of thing, right? I wanted to see how that would work, and because the nice thing about the IRA, everything you make in there is tax sheltered for now.
Mhm.
If it was Roth, you wouldn't even have to pay taxes on it later. But traditional IRA, like whenever I take that out at some point, I'm gonna have some kind of a tax burden. Hopefully less than what I would have now if I took it out, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm too young to take it out now anyway, because I would get penalties and everything because it is a retirement account. It just seemed why and I had a bigger chunk of money in the self-directed IRA, so that's why I just stuck with that one, just to do more deals and yeah, to get more credibility and use that money for investing because that's what I had it for. Um, Go after that higher percentage that you can get, versus the stock market sort of thing.
That actually leads to good next question. What kind of returns are you typically seeing using either your self-directed or just the loans that you're doing?
Right. So the first two that I did, I didn't know what I was doing. So I just jumped on these two loans, and I was promised 25% on one. I'm not promised because you're never promised, and 30% on another one. And really, I thought I did due diligence, but I didn't really know what due diligence was for it. And those lost money. Like I didn't get those back. They're both in Salt Lake City, and it was both a case of the borrower, like the flipper, didn't do like they did some demo, but they didn't do the work. In one case, the guy actually took the money and used it for another, basically used it for a down payment for his hard money loan and didn't do any the construction afterwards. And they both ended up getting foreclosed upon. One actually, the the one I had lent 5,000 on, one of the other borrowers actually stepped in and took it over, and but we all lost our money. Like he paid off the first position, and so I learned a lot there. I learned that higher percentages are not always, probably they're going to be more risky for sure. So I decided to stay away from those. And about the same time, they started this underwriting course in the Gator mentorship. And I went through that and I learned a lot from Alexis Morgan and Abraham Gray. And I started to do loans with them directly. And now I just go for 12%. So
So the 12% less risk, you ain't got your
yeah.
neck on the line there as
It,
much. And it's still
and yeah,
pretty good.
the thing is a first position loan too. I wouldn't like second position loans. I don't think I would do them anymore unless I was super like confident in the borrower and there's enough meat on the bone that after all of potential legal expenses and foreclosure expenses, I would still be able to pay everything off and make a tiny bit of money. Otherwise, it's like just too much risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically in that, so let's say that you've got one at 75% loan to value with your money in second position. Would you think that was a good position? Or does
Mm,
it have to be even lower for you as far as percentage?
75 is pushing it for sure, because then you only got 25%, right?
Mm.
Um, Generally, I've seen like 65, 60 when people butt in that low, and then there's usually some meat on the bone. And I've got a good contact in Gator. Actually, I'm a affiliate now to sell this work, not to sell, but to promote this workbook that she created. And you can go and put all the variables in from A to Z, and it tells you if the loan, like the risk of the loan, basically first position, second position, and it calculates everything, even based on what state the property address you put the property address in. It tells you like the number of months for foreclosure and all that, and does all the calculations on the back end. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So I've
we'll
been
make sure to get that link from you so we can put with this.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I haven't used it like yet on a loan that I did, but I played with the software and I used her draft version about a year and a half ago. I bought it for like 25 bucks from her and I touched base with her and I was like, "Hey, are you still working with Alexis Morgan?" She said, "Yeah." And she said, "Yeah, you remember that workbook that you bought?" She said, "I got that like polished up now. I sell it for a lot more money than what you paid for it. And if you're interested in being an affiliate for it, yeah, sure." So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
S- So what advice would you give at this point to a first time lender that they're looking to lend out of their retirement account?
I would say be cautious. If you can find someone to partner with who's done this before and like understands the paperwork and what you need to stay protected, that's the best route to go. Because some people will, say they like a borrower needs $300,000. There's people out there that will, they've got $300,000 or close to it, but they're willing to take you on for maybe you could use 50,000 of your IRA, and you could go sort of like together as a joint venture on that loan, and that's how you can be in first position with this other person that brought a lot more money to the table. So usually those kind of structures, they work like maybe they're getting 15 to 18% or something, right? But they're giving you 12% because you brought in 50,000 or 10% or whatever it is. And it's kind of a safer way to do it because you've got their expertise and they're kind of guiding you along the way. So I would say if you could find someone like that and try and stick to first position loans where if it all goes sideways, you guys could take over the property and sell it as is probably. And if you've done if the house was purchased with enough meat on the bone, then you'll be fine. Like you'll get paid back and you'll make money besides. Even if
Nice.
yeah.
Do you do a JV and a LLC or something so that you both be on the same thing as a first position? Is that how you work it?
Yeah, it's just a JV agreement. My LLC and their LLC just go together as partners to as lenders um, on this
So
loan.
you're both first position loans.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. Good, that's good.
Well, it's like yeah, it's kind of like a so it's not really fractional to that degree. It's like maybe two people or three people on it. That's it. Yeah.
It's actually a good point you bring up there, since you've actually done a fractional at
Hmm.
this point. So tell us about your experience with that.
Yeah, that's really a good way to do things as well. No, um, it's more of an equity play, right? So you're
Mhm.
not really going for cash flow. But you will end up with your LLC associated with this property. So it gives you more credibility. It gives you another door. Let's say without having to do the work of running it and everything, right? Because you're a partner on this thing. Like you have voting rights. Um, they have it really well structured. So the way that I've seen all the fractional agreements have been like if it's a critical decision, they need like 90% of people to respond and vote. If it's like moderate, there's like, I don't know, 70%, and then there's like 60% for minor decisions. So you're involved, right? And they usually will do education. Fractionals model usually there's education along the way. And they give check-ins, they show updates. So it's really like holding your hand way to do it. And fractional is not only PMPs, there's PMLs on there as well. So you don't have to do PMP with fractional.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought it was all P on piece. So
No.
that's actually good to know. I actually just jumped on one. It's a fresh build,
Yep.
fractional that I jumped in, and it was because of, like you say, being on that title. Even though I'm doing it through my self-directed account, it'll still tie to me. So when I go
Oh,
to build a development that I plan on doing, I have that to make the loan easier. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. And
Gives the bank that track record to follow you with.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really good. It's a really good way to do it. And you get some cash flow, right? When the cash flow starts kicking in, you'll get some equity. And for if self-directed, the depreciation stuff really doesn't matter because you're already in a
yeah.
tax. Yeah, but
Yeah, it's a self-directed Roth. So I
yeah.
was more about wanting in it just because when they mentioned, hey, it's sometimes hard to go get them
Mhm.
loans. I already
Yeah,
own the land and everything for this, and it's like, as soon as they mentioned that, I was like, that's the reason you got me. It wasn't the
yeah.
interest rate or anything, even though all that stuff is good. That was where I was like, I need that. So
And some of them on there too. If you invest at a certain level, you're in their master class, sort of. So I'm with Tracy Koa. I'm in her master class group. I guess that's or mastermind. I don't know. And they have events like they're planning on doing this thing in Hawaii in October. So if I wanted to, I could go to that, and it's going to be all about co-living.
oh
Um,
well.
yeah. So a lot of them do that. So far with fractional, I've done Brandon, Florida, like a pad split conversion, and a ground up one in Houston. Might be the same one that you're on. I don't know.
That's probably the same one, yeah, because
Is it
my
is it Drew
ground up was,
Street?
it's, I didn't look at the street.
Yeah,
It is with Tracy and them though. So,
10 bedroom, 10 bathroom
yep.
co-living. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're probably in the same one.
Yeah, we're in the same one there.
And I jumped that one with Pace, and that one is like you raised I think $2 million for different projects. So their first one they're doing is a flip, and that's more like a loan. You're not really in an equity. They're just paying 12%. And after a year, you get your money back, or you can invest again. Uh, I think their first project is a flip, and then their second one is going to be a Chipotle business that they're going to buy with a drive-through in
Oh, wow.
Arizona. Yeah, so
Interesting.
yep. So I did a few there.
So do you, at this point, are you using her system to evaluate your deals, or do you have one that you've put together to evaluate your deals for your retirement funds and actually even the ones out of the retirement funds?
You mean for loans to
Yeah,
see?
yeah, it's for loans, the way you decide whether, yeah, this is for me or no, this isn't.
Yeah, not really a formal system, just like checking like loan to value and all that, and
Mhm.
the credibility of the person I'm doing the deal with, and a track record. So like right at this point now, I've done so many with like Alexis, they all pay back on time, like sometimes early. Um, I am pretty confident.
Mhm.
So you don't want to get complacent, but at the same time, your confidence builds. So needless to say, the first one I did was more like I had the spreadsheet out and I was like, oh, running some numbers and looking at the comps and everything really closely. But yeah, so I'm want to dig into this new tool that I was telling you about and play with the finished product that this other gator brought to me. So
Nice.
yeah,
I'll look forward to bringing you back and hear how that's going because that sounds like
yeah,
a great tool to utilize.
mm-hmm. Yep, for sure.
So looking at where ahead, where do you see your biggest opportunities in the next 5, 10 years using your
Mm.
self-directed accounts and
Yeah, well, it's working pretty well for me now, doing the just lending, getting that interest rate, getting the cash flow. Is because it's fixed, right? It's a fixed rate. Like the stock market could crash tomorrow, and I'm still going to get my 12%, right? Uh,
nice.
on the other side, if everything took off like crazy, I'm still just going to get 12%. But the likelihood of that happening is probably less than crashing. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it goes up, it goes down, but I think overall it's about 7% over. If you look at the stock market for like I don't know how many years, that they say it's generally what 70%.
Yeah, 7, 8%. And then after your fees, you're really at 4 to 6% that you're
Yeah,
actually making is what I hear.
yeah, especially
So
if it's in mutual funds.
yeah. And so needless to say, yeah, if you're getting a consistent 8, 12, 15%, you're doing way better than the market most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, down the road, I might actually even convert more of my, let's say, traditional IRA with Vanguard over to my self-directed and use even more for lending. But I'm kind of, I don't want to put too many eggs in one basket with real estate. I do want to, because the stock market, I've done well on that side of it too, because Vanguard is a really good fund, the Vanguard Total Stock Market. I think I've made like 20% on that one since I put it in
Oh,
there. So, which is good. Um, I guess I just put it in at the right time.
yeah, yeah. Timing,
But I
timing's
don't I don't
everything.
touch it. So I think that's the key of that one. But needless to say, that is a good one because the original amount that I took and put into my self-directed, I came back a second time when things went up and I took even more. And it still went back up to where so it's back up again to where it was originally almost. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it's like I got this, it's almost like free money in a way because I took money from it, I used it for the self-directed and it went down because I took the money. And then over time, with redistribution of dividends and everything else, and I haven't added any money to it. It just went up again, and I took money again, and it went up again. So I just keep doing that, right? I mean, I'm diluting my shares, of course, but the value went up. I guess I'm not diluting my shares because it does pay dividends and goes back into it. So
Oh,
yeah,
sweet.
yep.
So finally, if someone listened today wanted to get started, what's the very first step they should take?
Towards using self-directed.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
whether it's setting it up or how they find
Mhm.
out about it, or yeah.
Yeah, first of all, being if you have a retirement account and you're still working at that company, then you can't really do anything. This is only for if you've got money left at like a company that you've left. I mean, there's probably other ways you can do it as a self-employed. I think there's like a solo 401k and things like that.
Mm.
I don't know much about that, but if you're just like working a 9 to 5 or working a W-2 and you've had a retirement account and you're still at that job, you kind of got to wait till you leave that job before you can do something with that money. So if you're not in that position, well, you just gonna have to find another route. But if you did leave a job and you've got maybe retirement account over here and one over here, instead of rolling it into your current employer's offerings, which is just going to be mutual funds, you should roll it into at least just to get started, put it into a regular IRA like a Vanguard type deal if you want until you figure out if you really want do the real estate thing. You can always carve off a portion of it like what I did. You don't have to go all in. say if you had like $300,000 with all your different retirement accounts, you put it into one Vanguard IRA, and maybe you're like, okay, I'll do half. I'll put 150 into self-directed and keep 150 into like the market, stock market, and you can have your real estate self-directed IRA over here and use that and get break and start break into doing some lending and things like that from that one. So that's how I would do it. I would just kind of see if it's right for you first, and then you could go back and take the rest of it if you want.
Yes. Listen, Bill, you got any questions or?
I was just gonna say if you had a chance to take, depending on where you're at in your taxes, if you get a chance to put it in a Roth, you might want to consider that. You're talking about putting it in an IRA, but I would put
Yeah,
it in
Roth.
towards a Roth if they have that option
Yeah,
or the
that would
taxes on
be
it.
the best advice. Yeah,
Because
because
later on you're gonna have to pay those taxes anyway, so you might as well get them out of the way if you can.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
But other than
Nobody
that, it
looks for
was
taxes
great.
to go down with the way the government spends money, right? We all look for
that's
them
right.
to, at sooner or later, we've got to pay the piper.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, that's a really good point because if you put $100,000 into a Roth self-directed IRA and you turn it around, and it's worth 5 million later on, you still don't have to pay any taxes because you paid them already.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's the
Yep.
best strategy. Yep.
If you can get it out, yeah, if you're gonna invest with it, make it you might as well play with the tax free stuff
Yeah,
if
yeah.
it's
I
all
need I
possible.
need a good chart. I need a good accountant to get me through
Don't we
those
all?
things. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We need to
Right.
find one of them.
I know, right? If you find a good
Sweet.
one, let me know. Yeah, yeah.
Sweet, Jamie, I appreciate your time today. And real quick, if somebody wanted to contact you and reach out and learn from you, ask you questions or see what you're doing to help them in their path, how's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Well, I've got two main ways, I guess. My main way would be on Instagram, is at the J Stone. So is like at the period J period Stone. So you can find me on there. There's links to all my stuff on my bio on Instagram. So I've got a podcast, like, so there's a website associated with that. And you can find me on like on YouTube and Facebook and all that, just from Instagram itself. And the other way would just go to my website, which is letsreipodcast.com. Yep.
Nice. Sweet. Well, appreciate your time and have a great evening, man. Make sure to shoot us that link so we can put your
I will.
affiliate
Yep. I
link
will.
with
Yep.
the stuff. So if people are looking to invest, they have the right tool to start with too. You know what? Before we go real quick though, I got to ask you because I know you had looked at credit stacking
Oh
and
yeah.
doing what are you doing there?
So for credit stacking, so remember I told you in the beginning that I was dipping my toes in, and I did a $10,000 loan from self-directed and 5,000 from my own money.
Mhm.
So with that LLC, the $5,000 came out of like a LLC that's not a part of an IRA or anything. So I went back around and I did some credit stacking, which I'm applying for 0% interest credit cards. I used a guy called named David Mitchell, and he has this program, and he'll show you how to do it, and he'll help you with the phone calls to the different banks, because you're not going on an online thing like a regular person and filling out business credit cards. You actually, some of them are just PDFs. Like they'll like the bank person relationship manager will send you like this. It doesn't even look legit, right? It's like it's what they give like their special customers kind of thing. And he tells you like how to fill it out, like what to put for certain fields, so it's more likely to get accepted. And it's all truthful stuff, but some is kind of like what just like an income question, and you ask, is he said you put down what your prospective income you think you're going to make is, and he kind of tells you how to fill it out, right? And yeah, so you'll probably apply for a personal credit card, not to use it, just to boost up your credit as part of the strategy. Before you even start, you'll have you contact your credit card companies that you already have and ask for increases, because the more it looks like you have on your personal side, the more business side would be willing to give you, right?
Oh, wow.
A lot of people don't know that. And then you'll apply for your business credit cards. And there's definitely a strategy in how you use those as well. Like American Express, you shouldn't take all the money off it at once. You should do maybe 6,000 and then come back for more afterwards. There's different ways of doing that. There's different ways to get your money off the credit cards. There's always fees associated. Um, with him, I was trying to use his Stripe account and it wouldn't accept my American Express. So we tried Melio and Melio didn't work because they were saying, no, this is for personal reasons and you can't take it. I don't know how they came to that conclusion, but I appealed it. So I had this money for about, I don't know, 30 days or more, and I couldn't get it off the credit cards. And like I ended up getting $70,000 in credit from the personal plus the three credit cards, right? The three business credit cards and the personal credit card. And like, so finally he said, I know this other company that they should be able to get it for you. So they're called Monday Friend Capital. And he's like, but it's going to be a lot slower. So I went with them and it took, no word of a lie, 14 business days to get
Oh,
the
wow.
money. But I got it and they wired it. And I was able to loan Alexis Morgan, $30,000 from credit card, 0% interest credit cards. And you just got to figure out, you're going to need at least 12% for a loan like that because most credit cards, the minimum payment is like 1% a month, which works out to 12% over a year, right? So at the end of your loan period, um, you've been making payments every month, but you're really just making principal payments because there's 0% interest. So then you get your loan paid back, you pay off your credit cards, and you keep the difference in what you've paid down over that time. So it's a nice way to do it. If you could get more than 12%, even better. If you could get 15%, you'd do even better. But if you're doing that strategy, don't take less than 12% because you'll end up coming out of pocket each month for the monthly payments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though you get it back, you want to, because you have them payments that you've got to calculate into your strategy,
Yeah.
you want to make more than just making your money back plus
Right.
the spread. You want to make that.
And the first time you take that money too, you're going to have to pay a fee. So you got to calculate that as well. So,
Yeah.
but there is a way to really lessen your fee amount. And there's another guy in sub two, Stephen Allen. He's, I don't know if do you know Carolina Allen? She's local to Portland. She's been sub two like when there was only like 1,000 members.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
He told me this really cool strategy that he did. He went to Costco and he bought some gold from Costco, and immediately gold went up. But you got to act kind of because you don't want to go down, so you got to do
Yeah,
it
yeah.
pretty soon, right? He went. There's a couple local places here that give you really good rates on gold. Bought it at Costco. Costco sold it at these gold places and got this money back, and there was barely any. He actually made money when he did it that way because he actually sold it for more than he paid for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty creative strategy he did right there. Gold, because how do you get the money out? And there's no question with the credit card companies, like, what are you using this money for? It's like you bought gold from it. And yeah,
That is cool.
yeah,
Sweet, sweet. Well, again, appreciate your time. Thanks for going a little extra long with us and
Absolutely.
teaching us
Yeah.
about talking to us about that one because that's
Yep.
one I'd dabbled with a little, but hadn't messed with too much. I just went to using them like regular business cards
yeah,
after I got them. So,
yeah. Don't do that. Use it for lending because that's it's just free money for lending, really.
yeah,
Yep.
sweet, sweet.
Yep.
Well, again, don't forget to send us that link. Y'all will put his link to his Instagram there. Is there any other way you'd like to have them reaching out besides your
No,
RE
that's the best way.
podcast?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the best way. Yeah, shoot me a message on Instagram.
sweet.
Yep.
Thank you for your time tonight, Jamie.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Y'all have a great one.
Yep.